On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
But I specifically look at how she is in wake of him being gone, and how she carries herself in the house that we still have, day in and day out. And so I'm literally just thinking about it. So don't mind me. I just think that if my granddad had a choice, he probably would have. And he set her up. She's good, but I just see how she misses her best friend every day. That's all.
Hey guys, I kind of want to continue the conversation a little bit before we close this.
Look at Anton. See, we always got to change it. Okay.
Would you guys say that older men prefer younger women because they have less mouths and not scorned? Don't all answer at once.
Less miles. Oh my goodness.
Would you guys say that older men prefer younger women because they have less mouths and less scorned?
Rilla, why y'all start with us last time? Go ahead, Rilla.
Yeah,
Lauren.
So yeah, Lauren, thank you for the alley-oop. 1000%. Yes, less miles, 0 miles, and not necessarily that they not scorned as much as it is the opportunity for you to mold and shape that woman and who you need her to be for you.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in on that? Older men prefer younger women because they have less mouths and less scorn.
I think it goes back to a very biological situation where men can. I do not like what Anton is doing. It's making me very uncomfortable. Okay, but I'm just saying. I think that the reason that older men get with younger women is a biological one. Like women, have a time clock on their fertility. Men have a much longer time clock on theirs. So, I mean, you can be 85 and still impregnate somebody that's 24 or whatever. So it's just like, I think it's an inherent thing that people do in terms of that.
What about the scoring part? The fact that they don't have to deal with a woman that experienced all this trauma and.
I think that people who think of it that way, like on the defense, I guess you could say, like they're like, oh, I'm trying to avoid scorned women. They might need to look a little bit into themselves. Like, what's going on?
Oh, really?
Yes.
I have never, ever, and I can't think at any point, and I'd like to think that I have a pretty decent memory, one time where Kay has ever said anything that would force women to hold themselves accountable or point the finger back at women or anything like that. Like, it's always a guy's fault somehow.
It's not their fault. It's literally. I'm really trying not to say that anymore. But it's not that it's a guy's fault. It's more so that wait. Okay, first, before I even respond, what is the thing that I said that made you say that?
Okay, I'm not gonna go back and forth.
You ain't ever. Anytime you notice that every time you say something as it relates to me, you say, "Oh, I'm not gonna say it," and then say, "JR, change the topic." Did you notice that this is a pattern? I'm noticing.
I kind of wanted to highlight another point.
See, here we go. I'm just saying.
What are we talking about? Me?
No, I'm just saying in general. It's the alley-oop. Is it called an alley-oop? I don't know what it's called. Where you pass the thing to somebody and then they do it. I don't know. But
what are we talking about?
Because I just asked Anton.
What is going on right now?
I just asked Anton a question. What do you mean?
Wait.
I just asked Anton a question. What does he mean? I'm gonna
set the president right now. Set the president right now.
What? What?
I was just entertaining Anton. That's all.
Anton just asked me a question, and I asked him, "What did he mean?"
That's okay.
And he was like, "I'm not going to address it today."
Because we literally asked the question about women. He just asked the question about women being scorned. He said, "What about the scorn part?" And
but then you, Anton, said, "Well, Kay never holds a woman accountable," and I'm asking
because if a woman is scorned.
Okay, tell me. No,
Nope, you
see,
got it.
here you go again. You
got
did
it, you got
it
it.
just
right,
now.
Because I've learned not to. I've
Anton,
learned.
I would love to know
You
what
know
is
what?
the thing that you think I'm saying that's wrong. I
I'm
will
about to.
address
I'm
it
about,
directly.
nope. I'm about to give my final statement. I'm going
See,
to
you
close.
won't do
Are we
it. You
moving over
always
to a
do
different
it.
subject after this, JR? I'm gonna
See,
close this
you
out.
always
I
want to
just
move
got one
on.
final. I got one final thought on this.
Okay, before you give your final thought, let me say this.
You
Last
always want to
show,
move on.
I had an opportunity to step back and just observe. And what I observed was I need to make some adjustments when it comes to having conversations with Kay. And so now you're seeing the result of it when I see it going down a path that leads to literally nowhere.
Literally, are you?
Yep.
Are you?
That was
The overwhelming majority.
Pun intended. Literally nowhere. I just step back and then I'll let you do your thing.
Well, but Anton, that sounds like a cop out, and that sounds like you are just trying to find yourself an easy way out. I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll talk later. I don't know, but it does not seem. What's the word? It seems. What's the word that everybody uses? It's disingenuous. You're just trying to find yourself a way to say, "I'm not going to respond to you, Kay," when you say something that I may not be able to answer. So now you have this thing where you're just like, I'm not going to respond to Kay.
I'm gonna touch on this last point real quick, and then we're gonna move on to the next topic. So we talked about how women prefer older men. I wanted to ask about the importance of growing old together. Is that a factor? Is that important to you guys? Growing old together. I'm start with you, Amir. The importance of growing older together.
Um, growing older together is a great thing. The only thing that I think is the best way to do this is that the woman grows slower than the man, simply because I don't know. I mean, it just seems like if you guys are like too close in age and you guys get old together, it's like who's gonna help who? Because both of you guys are in the same boat. So I don't know. I think it's better to have the wife, if she's not younger, at least she stays healthier and fit, because she's gonna have to be like taking care of the other person too. Does that make sense? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Because you get older, you need vitamins, you need sometimes help with things, and yeah.
So you're saying that since the woman is more in the service role, right? That she should be the one who is more capable of handling those responsibilities as you.
That's what I mean. Exactly. Thank you for taking the reins. Sometimes my English is not so good.
That's fine. Anybody else want to chime in on that? The importance of growing old together. I see you over there thinking about it, really. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm personally thinking about my grandma, right? And I understand what Amira is saying, and my granddad has, been passed for some years. But I have to look at my grandma and look at how often she misses her best friend, and how, we're there to support her, but we can't fill that void for him. And so I think it's more about, when you think about growing old together, you think about building, family, community, your empire, so on and so forth. And I think we as men often think about how we set, when it's our time to transition with with the ancestors, we think about like, what are we leaving behind? And so, I'm thinking about my grandma personally. And I think if my granddad could have it another way, if he saw how she was right now, he'd reverse it, and he'd rather be here, because I think he would be able to deal with it better, and have her be with the ancestors first.
Really, can I ask you, are you saying that it's better that they be closer in age, or is your grandmother a lot younger than your grandfather?
Man, that's a great question. I think they are closest. I forgot when my granddad was born. I know exactly when my grandma was born, because we celebrate her, family. We celebrate her every year. She's still here. But my granddad, he went first. He went first, and it was more or less his health and his eating habits. I know Anton talked about how you know, our eating habits are trash, but they from the South, and they ate. You know, he ate how most people from the South, even with access to the land and farming and all those other things, he ate how he ate, and so he went before her. But I specifically look at how she is in wake of him being gone, and how she carries herself in the house that we still have, day in and day out. And so I'm literally just thinking about it. So don't mind me. I just think that if my granddad had a choice, he probably would have. And he set her up. She's good, but I just see how she misses her best friend every day. That's all.